Do you know the story behind these three fashionable hedgehogs? In New Horizons, we know them as the two sisters running a homey shop, and the third a designer who's looking for inspiration. But things weren't always like that. Before any of the games, when the Able sisters were kids, the shop had another name and was run by their parents. They had three daughters, the eldest Sable, a shy and withdrawn seamstress, Label, the middle child with big dreams, and the youngest Mabel, the sociable tomboy. Sable was 10 years old when Mabel was born. They were all very close-knit and happy together. One day when the sisters were very young, tragedy struck the family. Their parents passed away, leaving Sable behind to take care of Mabel and the family store. With their parents gone, the girls were thrown into turmoil. While Sable was scrambling with her new responsibilities, Label wanted out. She had always dreamed of moving to the big city and becoming a famous fashion designer. She was desperate for a fresh start away from their loss. Sable wouldn't let her though. She wanted to keep their family's business going, and she didn't want another family member to leave her. Sable and Label fought and fought over this until one day things came to a head and cruel things were said on both sides. Label packed her bags and snuck away. We'll come back to Label soon, but first let's focus on Sable and Mabel. Sable was devastated over Label leaving. She became very depressed and didn't speak for weeks afterwards. Mabel was still very young at this time, and she didn't really understand what was going on. But still, she worried about her big sister and did what she could to cheer her up. And so did her friend Tom Nook. Sable and Tom Nook had grown up together and were good friends. Oftentimes they would climb out onto the roof and gaze at the stars together, making up their own constellations. Sable thought of him like an older brother. But it couldn't last. Tom Nook left the village to go and start his business in the city. He and Sable would write each other letters. His handwriting was messy, but Tom Nook was determined to do things the right way. Dreams before money, he would often say. And Sable worried about him. Along with one of his letters, Tom Nook sent Sable a wooden box. Surprised, she opened it to reveal a beautiful pair of fancy sewing scissors, along with a note saying, "Happy birthday, Sable." Sable had been so busy, she hadn't even remembered it was her own birthday. The fact that he had remembered, even buying her a gift when he had a poor-paying job, it touched Sable deeply. Sable would use these scissors for years and years to come, refusing to get rid of them even when they became very dull. After several years, Tom moved back to their village. When he arrived, he didn't say a word to anyone. Just from looking at him, you could tell he was exhausted. His time in the city had affected him harshly, and it was a painful time for him. Because of what happened to Label and now Tom Nook, Sable became jaded about city folk. She had a hard time trusting even Blathers until one day he came into the shop and started looking for a gift for his sister. She thought this was sweet of him and reminded her of her own sisters. She realized that the people in the city weren't so different after all. Now, let's get back to Label. Back when she snuck away, she did make it to the big city. She worked hard and eventually became the assistant to Gracie, a famous fashion designer. She got rid of her country mannerisms and accent, changing herself so she could fit in. She also changed her name from Label to Labelle on Gracie's suggestion. She was finally getting what she had always wanted, but she never forgot about her sisters. With how nasty their last conversation had been, Label didn't feel like going back home was an option. It especially wasn't an option to try and talk to Sable again. But thoughts of her younger sister, who was so little when she left, stuck with her. As time went on, she tried to reconnect with Mabel, writing her letters and sending as much money as she could spare. She still loved them, even after all these years apart. Mabel, now older, got a better understanding of what had happened so long ago. She could see both sides, with Sable not wanting to let go of the family shop, and Label wanting to follow her dreams. With her letters to Label, she started working as a peacekeeper, smoothing over years-old pains. She hoped that one day, Sable and Label would be able to reunite and they could all be together again. And that day came. Between City Folk and New Leaf, the sisters started talking again. And when Label learned all that she could from Gracie, she left and started working at the Able sisters. She was still going to follow her dreams, but first she wanted to spend time with her sisters. They spent a lot of time working together and reconnecting after all these years apart. And when the time came for Label to leave to start her own line, Labelle Fashion, Sable and Mabel were very understanding and supportive. And with more distance from their parents' deaths, Sable also became more open to leaving their village that they had grown up in. At Mabel's urging, they relocated the Able sisters' store to the island Tom Nook was now building up. Label often visits Sable and Mabel and enjoys the beautiful island they live on. And each time, Sable and Mabel display her latest designs in their shop with pride. And that is the story of the Able sisters so far. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Bye!